Hi, Kaylee.
Hi, Janine. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great, and I'm super excited because we are putting together a mini series of our podcast on top of our regular episodes for the next couple months. And today is going to be our first iteration of these mini series.
Yes. And this series came out of interest from Summit. So we heard from a lot of you guys about the things you want to hear more about, dive deeper in. So we've got a lot of great content upcoming over the next few weeks and months. And we're excited for this mini series to really dig a little deeper in a lot of these verticals.
Yeah, so this mini series is going to focus on individual verticals within the DMO sphere that you all might be learning more about or already handling within the DMO and how you can learn more from your peers. So, this first episode today is going to be focused on film commissions and film tourism.
Yeah. Without further ado, let's get into it.
We are here today with Deb Goedeke from Film Albany, which is a part of the Visit Albany DMO, and we're very excited to have her here today. So we'll let her introduce herself.
I'm Deb Goedeke. I am the Albany County Film Commissioner, Film Albany, and that is under Discover Albany, which is the DMO here in Albany, New York. I've been in my position for over 20 years and absolutely love all aspects of everything that I do. So I'm really the worker bee that connects our film productions with the people in our community along with their services and resources.
I'd love to start today with kind of the origin story of Film
Sure.
Albany. How did you guys decide to, make that an investment for your organization? How did that come to be in Albany?
Sure. So really, it kind of grew organically out of things that we were doing. We know that film provides, an economic impact to our region. So every production brings in visitors, crew, but they're considered visitors who stay in our hotels. They dine in our restaurants, they rent equipment, they use local crew, they utilize all of those services, shop locally, and often they will come back for future projects. So we really wanted to expand upon that. And when I first started here, they said, oh, you'll probably maybe get a photography request every once in a while. And in the last 20 years, that has grown to a full-fledged website, a location gallery, a huge social media presence and following. So we never had a large marketing budget to start with. It was always kind of grassroots. So we didn't invest a lot of money in marketing because in this business, a lot of it is word of mouth between location managers and projects. But what we do is we really invested in me to develop those relationships that we have with people so that they will come back time and time again.
And you mentioned earlier when we were speaking that, and you mentioned just now too, that you didn't have a large budget. You really organically grew this
Yes.
department into what it is today. And how did that begin? How did you start to foster and build those relationships? And for a DMO who's just starting out in looking into film tourism and getting film production in their destination, how do you recommend they get started?
Well, first of all, you have to get your community on board. You have to educate them on the impact of film and what it brings. So I did that right from the beginning with our police department, our traffic engineering, our community partners, our restaurants, our hotels. And honestly, in the beginning, everybody thinks, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. This is a film production in the city. But when a Gilded Age comes in and brings in 9,000 sleeping rooms and a whole nother city with them while they're filming, people will really start to pay attention. I can also share a great example of that. When Gilded Age first started shooting in Albany, they just finished up season 4, a part of season 4 here in Albany. I actually we reached out to those businesses and neighborhood associations that would be affected by their filming, and we included them in the process right from the very beginning. I always think that people support that which they help to create.
Mm.
So if we had them in the logistical discussions, we had them in any kind of road closure discussions, so that they embraced the film production because they always feel like that they're part of it. So I think right from the beginning, if you're looking at starting up a film business as part of your DMO, get your community partners, your mayor, your county executive, all of your legislators, all of those people on board. And really, it's by educating them, because at the end of the day, it's about money. It's about economic development coming back into your community and organization.
How have you seen the resident sentiment grow over time from when you started to where we're at now?
Well, like I said in the beginning, it was, everybody was very enamored with all the film productions,
Mhm.
but now that we've had a steady stream of film productions over the last 4 or 5 years, and not just Gilded Age, but White House Plumbers, Successions. Here's this little town, second tier city, and all these people are coming to Albany to film. So that speaks volumes to our visitors and our residents that are here locally.
So once production of these films and television shows wrap up, how can you expand that marketing out to then draw the fans of those shows or movies into the destination to come and see, where it was filmed, and also just drive that tourism impact as well?
Well, what you want to do is you want to think of your film production as not just a one-off with economic development. What can you expand upon once they leave? We've done Gilded Age tours here. When we had the aqueducts, they would go around and show all the various locations that Salt shot in, the other guys shot in, and it's like Game of Thrones too. It creates that buzz that people want to be part of it and they want to see it. And again, it goes back to when they're initially in your city, that you start with that social media and putting the word out there so that it continues to trickle long after the production has left.
I love that. I know earlier you talked about being housed within the DMO has helped you. What can you expand on that slightly, and what resources and tools you've been able to work with the DMO?
Sure. So we already specialize, DMOs already specialize in a lot of the things that the films are looking for,
Mm.
hospitality, visitor services, community partnerships, economic impact. So we already have those strong relationships. People always ask me, because I also do destination services. They're like, destination services and film, how does that even come together? But it's a perfect match.
Right.
I'm working with these people all day long. So we're just adding another client, another layer to that. So really, it's a perfect match for any DMO.
One thing you mentioned too was that you have now a full gallery that shows
Yes.
all of the different filming locations. And I know a lot of these shows and movies that are being filmed in Rochester, they don't necessarily take place in Rochester in the storyline. So how can DMOs take advantage of those kind of look-alike scenery and identify what their branding is, or where they can fit in to find the best matches for their filming?
So, first of all, shout out to Smug Mug. They house our location gallery. It's very inexpensive. It's like $109 a year, so anybody can afford that. And visuals are better than anything. You can tell everybody about what your assets are, but for them to see them in person, it's critical. I also worked with a local location manager to look for those particular locations that could double for other cities. Now, Albany is a government-driven city, so we have a lot of government buildings here. So one of the reasons SALT came to shoot here is because we doubled for Washington, D.C. So you have to find those assets that you have. The woods. We've had the Quiet Place reach out to us a couple of times for some of those scenes that are shot in the woods. So you have to find those assets that other movies or locations are looking for, and use your town. What are your town's assets that you can double for? And we are so blessed and lucky to have all of those government buildings, courthouses, right here in downtown Albany. But then 20 minutes away, you're in the woods. You're in Thatcher Park. You're in a waterfall. We actually had somebody come out from Utah and shoot a film specifically because of Thatcher Park, because it looked like what was in their script. So honestly, I'm always looking for those things that are unique, that could double for something else, that for a project that someone is working on. I know that when they come to Albany, they will save money. And productions, at the end of the day, it's a business. So if you can save them time and money, they will come to your destination.
What does it look like when your city gets, new infrastructure or new, additions to the city that can help within that film dynamic for, producers looking for something for their movie, or a specific location that might look like another location? What does that look like in terms of outreach?
Well, what I do is I act first and foremost, I tell them I am not a location manager.
Yeah.
I want to put our local crew to work. So I have them check our location gallery first on what their needs might be. I can make recommendations. I also say, send me pictures of what it is that you're looking for so I can see what it could double as. New York City, a lot of those buildings in New York City, a lot of our downtown, those overhead shots can double as New York City. So I work with them on what their vision is. But at the end of the day, too, I say, hey, listen, I've got a great location manager that I can connect you with, and he'll be able to even show you more things that are out there, more assets. And we also reach out to our community partners. I have a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, I got a farmhouse. I got an 1800s farmhouse. I'm thinking somebody might be able to use it in a film production. I say, send me pictures. Send me pictures of that so that we can have it part of our location gallery. So I am always looking for cool things that could double as something else.
And does your local or state government offer incentives to help alleviate some of the costs, or tax incentives, anything like that that you can use to market the destination?
Sure, absolutely. So upstate New York especially has some special film tax credits that are overseen by the Empire State Development. I can tell you that 90% of the productions that come into our city, they are coming in because of those New York State film tax credits, and we really promote them as well. But we're also selling confidence in addition to the film tax credits, because productions know that when they call me, they're going to get a phone call answered. If they need a question answered, if they need problems solved, anything that they need, in addition to those film tax credits, we are going to take care of them here in Albany. I got a call 2 weeks ago on a Thursday night at 10 o'clock, and they said, Debbie, we have a squirrel on set and production has shut down. Is there anything you can do to help us? Now, I have never had a call like that before. I've had a lot of calls in the middle of the night, but nothing like that. So here's what we did. I found a 24-hour critter remover. And I called him and I said, I know this will sound crazy. I have a squirrel on set. It's shut down production. And would you be able to go there? Now, he was 60 miles away. That man got in his truck, drove there, removed the squirrel, sent me a picture. The film production just was over the moon that we were able to solve that problem. So in addition to the film tax credits and installing confidence, we're putting out fires every single day.
I think, being able to have a team that you can rely on and a community you can rely on is so important. And, even though our roles aren't in hospitality, they are, because we love what we do. We love inviting communities into our cities and being able to, share that welcomeness and hospitality as well. So I love that story. Squirrel on set.
Absolutely. That'd be a good little sticker I could make. Squirrel on set.
Well, I know we talked a little bit about economic impact throughout this episode. How do you guys share that with the community, in terms of what film has brought in for economic impact for the city?
So there's a couple of different ways that we do it. And I hate to keep going back to Gilded Age, but they're a good example. I don't want people to think that, oh, well, I can't get a production like Gilded Age. We do a lot of other independent productions besides a television series, okay? But in print, in our visitor's guide, we always do an ad on film. We always will put something in about film. Our annual report, I pull everything together for our marketing department for the year, and we get those numbers out. Now, our annual meeting that we just had, we did devote, for the first time ever, a portion of our annual meeting to film. And I will share some of those economic impact numbers that we shared with our audience. So last season for Gilded Age, when they came in, they used 115 vendors. 27 of them were Albany based, and the Albany based vendor spend was $1.6 million. That's just for vendors, okay? We had, and I am reading this off a piece of paper so I don't leave anything out, but we had 167 Albany residents that worked as extras, and 70, that was for a total of $290,000 for those Albany extras. The cast, we had 22 total, but total working in Albany were $728,000. So one thing I would recommend to other DMOs, at the end of the day, your legislators, your city and county officials and everything, that's what they care about. Right there, the bottom line. What was the Albany spend? And so I do my best to try to keep track of that. I also try to work closely with the line producer, who is the financial guy for all the productions, but a lot of times they keep that information close to their hip. They really don't want to share it. I know the Association of Film Commissioners International, they say a production or TV series can spend anywhere from $125,000 to $165,000 a day. So sometimes I'll use that figure too, but I try to keep track of as much local spend as I can, even if I don't have the exact numbers, just to show what an impact that they have. At the end of the day, it's a whole nother city coming into your city, utilizing everything that your city has. So economic impact is key.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important right now too, as people are seeing changes in leisure travel and meetings and conventions travel. And it's like they're thinking bigger. What else can we do? And I think that's so important to remind people that there is a very, very large impact just from having those film production crews come into market. And that's really valuable for when we're going and advocating for our DMOs or applying for a TID or any of these things that are listeners might be thinking about. I just have one last question for
Sure.
you, and it's a kind of a big one, but so
Okay.
if a DMO, right now they don't have any film commission, they don't have any person in the role like you are in right now, but they want to explore how to
Yep.
start doing this, what advice would you give for somebody first starting out?
So again, from the beginning, you start with relationships, not the money. Because none of us, again, being a second tier city and a smaller DMO, you start with the relationships and you start to build the trust with those key partners so that they know that what you say, what you do, what your actions are they can trust you with that process. In the beginning, a lot of people, they didn't know who Debbie Goedeke was and what this whole film thing was all about. And now I get the call and I said, oh, I called the mayor's office or I called this office and they said, I have to call you first. Even traffic engineering, if they call about a permit, the first thing they say is, did you speak to Film Albany first about this? So there's that relationship and that trust. They also know that that you are going to be the gateway to the film production. So keep those relationships going. And I always say this too. Everybody again gets all excited about a film production coming in, but if they're not respectful of your community is not going to want them back. So sometimes you walk a fine line in making your community happy and making the film production happy. Because I feel this way. I love my community. And at the end of the day, long after that film production leaves, I have my community. So I always want them to be to know that they can trust the process that we have here in Film Albany. So I would just say start with those relationships. And if anybody wants to call me or talk to me or send me an email, I'd be happy to do that because we have a thriving film business that we literally have created from nothing.
Thank you for offering that. We'll, if you're okay with it, we can put your email, in the
Absolutely.
description. That way, whoever listeners want to reach out, they can contact you.
Absolutely.
I have a fun one to end us on
Okay.
today.
Okay.
What is a lesson you learned early on as you've been doing this for so long? Maybe it could be like a funny story that taught you a lesson or anything you learned along the way.
Never count on a film production coming to your city until you see the trucks pull into the parking lot.
I love
And
that.
I learned that it wasn't really the hard way, but there was a major film production that came to Albany. They were going to shoot in Albany. It would have been huge. The project would have been over the top. And they had sleeping rooms already secured. We had done a tech scout with 64 people, and they had come from all over the world. The people that were working on this project were from all over the world. And I got a call on a Monday morning, and one of the hotels said to me, they just called and canceled all their sleeping rooms. And I was like, what? What's up with that? And I called one of my contacts, and he had been fired along with everybody else that was part of the project. They brought in a whole new team, and I tried to get them to come back to Albany, this whole new team, but the director had other thoughts about where he wanted to go. So one thing about this business, don't take it for granted until the trucks pull into the parking lot.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We so appreciated this conversation. I think it was really helpful and valuable to any of the listeners who might be interested in film tourism or interested in learning from you, Deb.